President Engler, Temple obviously is an excellent school. I have many families in my district and students that go to Temple and have, great feedback and are doing very well. But with that, there's always a but, right? I have some concerns. I have concerns, of course, as we as a legislative body help subsidize part of that education. And I have a few questions for you. In the 2021 budget presentation materials that we have, you state, this academic year we made certain strategic cuts across the university so that we could freeze the base tuition for our in-state undergrads. Can you just give us a little bit about those cuts, what they were, and the impact that it has been on Temple University?
Certainly, thank you. Some of those cuts came from administration. We usually start with administration. I can't give you exact dollar figures, but we usually start with administration. Mm-hmm. And the additional reductions were in cutting across the entire university. We use a RCM model, which is a responsibility-centered budgeting management model. And that's a decentralized model. So all the schools and colleges had some reductions, some a little higher, some a little lower. Some of the reductions were because when you put all the revenues together, some of the revenues come from tuition, some because of the, if you had an increase, some if you don't have an increase, et cetera. Some of it came from, we knew and we predicted well before this year that we would have a drop in number of students because of our Fly in 4 program. And our Fly in 4 program is a program by which we have an agreement with a student, and the university has its part of the agreement, and we each have certain things we have to do. A student has to enroll priority registration, has to see an advisor every year, has to sign an agreement, a number of things, checkpoints we call them. On the Temple side, what we do with Fly in 4 is we say that we will guarantee the courses in sequence. If not, we'll make certain that you get an alternative course. We will guarantee your advisors, so you always have an advisor to meet with. We will guarantee a review of your graduation, et cetera. So the Fly in 4 program has been very successful. It's been so successful that this year we were counting on about 450 fewer students because students who used to stay with us 5 and 6 years and never paying tuition would not be doing so.
Yeah, thank you. We were just talking about that before the hearing, a little bit about the 4-year program, getting students through the 4 years. So thank you. And since I'm limited, I'm cutting you off a little bit. I'm limited with time, so thank you, at least for some of that information.
Thank you.
There's 2 other questions that I have. Unfortunately, there has been a little controversy at Temple. We've seen a couple professors here and there that have had some publicity, but I want to focus a little bit on the Fox School of Business. And since their settlement in December, and I think it was a $4 million settlement, and what is that financial cost to the taxpayers based on us partially funding and then this settlement piece?
Right. First of all, the reason for that was it all came from a misreporting that occurred within the university and from the Fox School, and a misreporting of data. And because of that, we made certain changes, we took certain steps, and we told students that we will make certain that we will make students whole. And so all students were made whole. These were dollars that came out of our reserves, not out of tuition. And our commitment was to make certain that students who had filed a suit, which we understood, that we took care of them first. And that was the lead, that was part of our strategy, make certain we take care of our students. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened.
And I am out of time. I did have one other question, but my only concern with part of your answer there is, where do those reserves come from? Aren't those reserves part of the funding, all your funding levels? So when you create a reserve account, wouldn't that sometimes include some of the dollars that we would give as a state?
Ultimately, the reserves come from underspending the budget. And so what we try to do, and obviously there are a lot of things included, including outside investments, a whole set of contributions to the reserve. But basically, a reserve for us comes from careful underspending, making certain that we underspend our budget every year.
Yeah.
And that's how we've been able to build a reserve.
Of course, and thank you, and I appreciate the reserve capability. I would like some more detailed information on any sort of litigious issues that happen within the university, and possibly more of a segregation of accounts or something of that nature.
Happy
Thank
to
you.
do so.
Thank you.